You want to give the list of the members? So do we have we don't have a chairman or vice chair right now, right? I guess with the committee members present, no? But I guess we can open up the meeting. We could call the meeting to order. Today is April the 10th, 2019, and it's approximately 6:10 p.m. And this is for the regular meeting of the Transportation Traffic Safety Advisory Committee. The meeting is being held here at 5512 Thomas Avenue here in Laredo, Texas. So if we can please get roll call.
Celina Costa Vea. Present. Adrián Domínguez.
Present.
Rodolfo Guajardo.
Present.
Armando Garza.
Present.
Joe Barron. Jeffrey Quick.
Present.
Dave Akers. Felix Canales.
Present.
And Rafael Tawil. We have
So
quorum.
we have a quorum. Okay. Thank you. Next item on the agenda under Roman numeral number 2, general citizens communication. Each speaker signed up prior to the meeting will be allowed a 3-minute allotment. Comments should not be derogatory and should be delivered in a professional manner. I don't think anybody signed up.
No.
Nobody? Okay. If not, we'll move on to number 3, approval of minutes. Approval of minutes of December 12, 2018. No meeting held in the month of January, February, and no quorum on the month of March. So we can get a motion
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of December 12, 2018.
I second.
There's a motion, there's a second.
Who's that?
Second over here.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
No.
All opposed? None, motion carries. Moving on, number 4, staff reports. I know we had, well, I guess before that, I'd like to, first of all, now that we started the meeting, welcome, there's some new committee members, I believe, as part of this. And I guess I'll give them a couple of minutes right now to maybe just introduce themselves, and I'll do the same on my own, in case that some of you that may not know me. My name is Ramon Chavez. I'm not only the city engineer, but the acting traffic safety department director. So I just want to welcome you all. It's a pleasure being here, and hopefully this committee, I know that last meeting we did not meet quorum, but hopefully we can meet and be an active committee. I know prior to that it was a real active committee and a lot of things going on. At the same time, once I believe there's an item on the agenda for election of committee position, so I guess we'll get into that in a bit, but just so that you can start thinking about that right now as we move forward. We have how many members, I guess, absent?
Absent.
That are not here?
2 right now. 2. With
2?
Mr. Akers.
Oh, Mr.
And then
Akers.
Mr. Tawil.
Mr. Tawil, Mr. Akers, and Mr. Barron?
Yes.
Okay. And just for information purposes, Mr. Akers is the current
Secretary.
secretary.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mr. Barron is the co-chair.
and Mr. Barron is the co-chair, just so that everybody understands here, and depending on how the committee feels right now, if they want to appoint somebody or not. So with that being said, I guess I'll let maybe some of you introduce yourself, if there's anything that you want to mention.
First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Marta Martinez for allowing me to serve as on District 6 for the Traffic Committee. And my name is Jeff Puig. I'm a local civil engineer. I work with civil engineering consultants. We have offices in Laredo, San Antonio, and College Station. So familiar with quite a bit of other regions other than Laredo. Lived here all my life and basically love the city, love what we do. So here to help.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Garza?
Armando Garza.
Mhm.
This is my 6th meeting. I'm a U.S. Customs broker, and for 30 years, and for 6 years I'm also a Mexican customs broker. And it's an honor to be here and ready to work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Felix Canales. I'm also a Mexican broker, and a few years back I was also a member of this same committee, and we're here to help and provide any information that the city needs. But I'm glad to be a member, and hopefully we can get things done.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Adrian Dominguez. I'm the Safety Risk Manager for Texas A&M International University. Also handle environmental health and safety there at the university, and I'm glad to be here, part of the team, and anything that we can do to help the community.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos.
My name is Selena Costa Rio. I was appointed by Rudy Gonzalez a few months ago. And I'm just here to listen and to be able to help the community with the information that is discussed here.
Appreciate it very much.
Rodolfo Harlow Jr. I own Carpet Road. I was funded by Mercurio Martinez. And I've been in the floor covering business, and I've lived here all my life. And I'm ready to help with whatever I can do to better the city. And we're ready to go.
Thank you. You want to introduce yourself just for the new members?
My name is Erica Alcorta. I'm the administrative assistant here at the traffic department. I've been with the department for 1 year.
Robert Pena, the engineering superintendent. I've been with the department for 20 years.
Thank you.
I'm Lupita Reyes, I'm the traffic administration manager. I've been with the city 28 years, but I've been here a year with traffic.
And I'm Alec Martinez. I'm the bicycle pedestrian coordinator. Been here for about 14 years as well. Just kidding.
14? I thought it was. Oh, yeah, no, you're
14
right.
years, yeah, I was 8 when bike ped coordinator. It's about seven months. So, yeah.
Thank you, Ali. Well, thank you, everybody, again. We're really looking forward to this. I know there's a lot of things that can be discussed at the level of this committee that would definitely help our community. Traffic is one of the things that just mobility itself and making sure that everybody, that all citizens get to their destinations from the citizen standpoint, from the transportation industry that we have some members here that represent. I think that's very important, and those are things that we can definitely discuss here at this level as it comes forward. There's a lot of new ideas coming also through the new comprehensive plan. We have our bicycle pedestrian coordinator on board now. So a lot of good things happening. It's a good time to be part of this committee because there's a lot of moving parts as it relates to not only active transportation but mobile transportation as well. So looking forward to working with everybody, and as we move forward, once we select the chairman and as a committee, we can bring up any items that you feel need to be discussed at this level to after that maybe provide some recommendations. So welcome everybody. And well, with that being said, next item, were we gonna do anything under staff reports besides, I know you had some staff reports last time, Malik, but I don't see them here on the agenda, so I don't know if you wanna briefly go through them?
Really quickly, at the end of May, May 22nd here, we're going to be having a Vision Zero Summit. We're having folks from Austin come down, the TxDOT folks and the Federal Highway Administration folks come down, and we're getting some of the assistant chiefs over at PD and fire, as well as traffic planning and all the other departments of the city, as well as some citizen groups involved as well. So it'll be a big kickoff. Talking
Just
about
quickly about Vision Zero, I guess, what it is, so that everybody knows.
it's a fundamental change in how we perceive traffic, with the expressive aim of ending traffic deaths. So we've had an increase every year. Last year we topped out at 9,099 crashes. I think the highest point was 48 deaths in 2016. So we're seeing this increase, and we have to face this epidemic. And so this is getting everybody together at the table to think about how would do that. And so one of the things that will come out of that is a group that will go through that data, what roads are the most dangerous from the preliminary searches, we found that 75% of crashes happen on like 4% of roads. How do we fix it? So if you know, all are welcome. We'd love to have all of you guys.
May
there.
22nd, right?
May 22nd, and I can send an email out.
Yes.
So you guys
Yeah,
have
once we have the, I guess, the invitation, we'll
Yeah.
send it out formally to the group, just so that hopefully you can join us for that.
I'm gonna be here.
Here.
In the
Classroom.
classroom.
Oh, classroom, yeah. Yeah, we have some big classrooms
I'm gonna be in the
training
afternoons,
rooms.
Morning, 9 to 11. So
9 to 11.
9 to 11, that's right. And we'll have FHWA present. And then really quickly, another short thing is we're also working on what's called the Complete Streets Ordinance, which was identified in the comprehensive plan. Essentially, we have a thoroughfare plan in the comp plan, and that's just, this ordinance will just sort of be the connective tissue between our current codes and our comprehensive plan. It'll be that bridge. So it's coming down the pipe.
I know you talked about scooters last time too.
Oh,
but,
yeah. So we're abolishing all cars. Everybody has to use a scooter from here on out. No, we are almost done with getting the first application. We're dealing with some bond issues, but we're getting through it as best we can. So I would expect that we'll have the application in by this week, and then we just got to turn it around, get it through legal, get it through risk management. So, you know, by May, we should be having scooters
on the ground.
on the ground. So,
Will they be scooters moving all over the city or certain areas?
wherever you want to ride your scooter is where you're welcome to. Granted, again,
But we'll be depicting some areas. Would it be? No.
no,
No?
but this is a 6-month pilot program with a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
So in the moment we see something isn't going right, we can go in and we can correct some language. And the scooters also have the technology where we can geofence, what they call it, where if you get to a certain point of the city where we don't want you in, it'll slow to a stop, and you'll have to turn around.
They can be programmed to a certain grid, and so that way they, as soon as you cross over to a certain street that you're not supposed to, it'll turn off by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only gonna be one group?
So we have 2 groups looking. One is like real close to submitting. The other one is a few steps behind. But the 2 groups are Line, which is a multinational group. The other one is Blue Duck out of San Antonio. So, yeah, look forward to that.
I think that we can move on to the next item, which is staff reports, and then number 5, communication. Anything else from staff? Maybe I jumped the gun earlier, but anything else that we have to communicate to the committee?
I don't know, Alex, do you want to talk about safe routes also?
We were applying for about $1.5 million through TxDOT. TxDOT has a program called Safe Routes to School. It's for specifically non-motorized transportation. So District 1, in fact, is a place that we're looking at. St. Luke's Boulevard, and another place up by Mines. Who represents the Mines area? I think that's District 7. George. Oh, is it Dave? Anyway, so it's about just under $9 million that the state has reserved for ways that we can connect kids to their schools without using cars. So that's sidewalks, that's bike lanes, that's all that good stuff. So we're applying two different projects, about $1 million and some change each. The deadline is on Friday. We're pretty confident that we'll get through this first round, and then we'll keep chugging along. And then the master bike plan is also down the pipeline. So that's exciting too. Yeah, lots of stuff.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
I apologize for being so late.
It's all right, Mr. Akers. We went through some of the points already. We did some introductions. We have some new members, and I just wanted to welcome everybody, and everybody pretty much introduce themselves. So I don't know if you can do the same for some of the new members, and maybe the new members can just reintroduce themselves to Mr. Akers.
Sure, I think maybe just one or two. I think just you I haven't met yet.
Jeff Puig with CEC Civil Engineering Consultants here in Laredo.
Mr. Briggs, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So my name is Dave Akers. I am an 18-year resident of Laredo, Texas. I'm originally from Indiana. moved here by way of Mexico City. I lived in Mexico City for several years before coming to Laredo. Met my wife there, and we both are work in the transportation sector in trucking. I'm in trucking, she's in logistics. And so we try not to talk about work at home. It's hard not to sometimes. Laredo's an epicenter for transportation and logistics, so that's why we're here. And I was appointed by Councilman George Altgeld, from District 7. And that's where our trucking terminal is in District 7, so that's how I came into contact with Mr. Altgeld. I've been secretary of the committee for, I guess, a little over a year, and yeah, pretty well covers it.
Thank you,
Nice
Mr. Akers.
nice to know everyone.
Yes, Mr. Akers.
Mr. Akers, we just talked about, you should be aware, we're looking at the mines area for about a $1.4 million grant, $1.5 million grant called Safe Routes to School through TxDOT. You've been working with the councilman, but just so you're aware as well.
Okay.
And I can after the meeting.
Yeah, let's sidebar after
Yeah.
we're done here. That's interesting.
Sounds good.
And so we went through roll call. We can acknowledge that Mr. Akers is present for the record. We went through general citizen communications, through approval of minutes, staff reports, some communication, and so we are on number 6.
Wow. Right along.
Yes.
Almost didn't make it, right?
Yes. Yes. So that's discussion possible action of the following. Number 1, election of the following committee position. Under letter A, chairman. So I did, prior to starting the meeting or during the meeting, just to make all the committee members aware, we mentioned that you, Mr. Akers, are the secretary for the committee, and that Mr. Barron currently is the vice chair. And now we have this item for discussion possible action. So I'll leave it open up to the committee.
Well, I think the vice chair automatically ascends into chairman. Does he or she not? Isn't that the way that works? So I guess to run this as a point of order, Mr. Vice Chair, would you like to call for a motion regarding nomination of I don't know if that's the right way to do that, but
Mr. Barron is the vice chair. He's not present right now.
So you're the highest, you're the highest.
Yeah, you're the highest.
You're the only person in the room.
There was
I want to take yours. I get 3 plates every time.
Sorry, I forgot I'm in trucking. I was trying to railroad that one.
No problem.
I haven't spoken to Mr. Barron to know if that was, that would be kind of odd to vote him into the position without him being present.
That's a smart thing to do.
Just for information purposes, I believe he confirmed that he'd be here, but he's not here.
Okay.
I know, I don't think he was present last time either, but again, it's up to the committee if they want to take action
In my
tonight
opinion, as a
or.
new member, I think it'd behoove us to have a member that has some standing here with the committee and that served. I know that several of y'all see y'all's names on here, so I would be in favor of considering that if you were going to make it into a motion.
Okay. Does anyone know what the Rogers Robert's rules would be on the nominating a pending? Because we could nominate and take a vote and it would be confirmed, and he's not here to accept it. But would that be open? We could make
Subject to
his
acceptance. You can do subject to an acceptance.
Why don't we?
Sure.
Okay, then I will make that motion that we consider Mr. Barron to advance into the chair position pending his agreement. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So Erika, are you getting the motions and seconds? And is there any discussion on that? Going that route?
The only other thing I want to mention is then I guess with that being said, I don't know who will be the vice chair position would be vacant. But again, I'll leave that open as
Well,
well.
we're gonna elect him next month.
Right.
Okay.
Right, so yeah, maybe at that point, then maybe next time we can bring the item confirming this, and then also for vice chair.
And for a point of discussion, what we can do is we can nominate the chair
Mhm.
and vote, and then we can see if he's willing to accept that nomination the next meeting. The next meeting, then we would vote in the
Vice,
remaining
yeah,
chairs.
right.
And the remaining slate, and we can move forward at our next meeting.
Make
That would
it
be
sure
good.
you guys accept it.
Yeah, make sure we have the acceptance board.
Right.
And if it
Bring on vice
doesn't,
chair.
then we will have two elections
Yes.
on the next meeting.
Correct.
Chair and the vice chair.
And the other
Correct.
positions. Right, okay.
Well, we wouldn't have to select the chair if he accepted the nomination. So, yes.
Okay, if there's no discussion on the point, we'll go ahead and go to a vote. So the vote on the table is to confirm the nomination pending his acceptance for Mr. Ladron as chairman. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
And we will table further elections or nominations until next meeting.
Okay.
Heather, would you like to gavel the?
We're close.
Thank you.
So we can move to the next item.
Yes, sir.
Designating of no parking anytime on the south side of the 1900 block of Freeze Street between US 83 and South Buena Vista.
Yeah, put the Google.
So let me zero in on this location.
Joe, okay.
Let me do that one better.
That's what I was
Okay, so this is south of Reno, just north of Lomas del Sur. And this is Free Street at US 83. This is the location that we're talking about and we're looking at. And so we have this medical center pharmacy on the south and residential on the north. This is South Buena Vista and South Urban. So what we're proposing, and this is a revision to the originally proposed, where we were originally proposing no parking on the south side, where apparently there's a spillover from the business here. And what's happening is that we have parking, vehicles parking on both sides of the street, such that only allows for one lane of travel. And so we had a citizen call in to our office and also make a 311 request to have us look at this situation where it's very difficult to maneuver in and out. And it's concerning because this is US 83 right here at a high volume roadway. So we made that recommendation for no parking on the south side to alleviate this. And then shortly after presenting this to the council member of the district, who is Vidal Rodriguez, council in District 2, he stated that he'd like to go ahead and have no parking on both sides of the roadway and limit it to an hourly time frame between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. So that's what we're recommending now, and this is going to be a tollway area, so there'll be a no parking between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Tollway zone. So that's what we have on the table as we're presenting it to the committee. Now this is an action item.
So there's no signage and no restrictions for parking right now?
None at all. Take it down to the street view, and there's the clinic. It says, I don't know how, that's not
Yeah, September 22nd.
the recent photo.
Yes.
Up on the aerial, it claims to be a pharmacy.
Not that I don't
Yeah,
It
it
comes
has-
right on 23.
Right.
And
And
north.
it's open between 9 to 4.
And probably our employees that park there probably.
Mhm, that's what we're thinking.
So,
Some for,
yeah, at the time of these photos, the parking lot is full and you've got vehicles out on the street. There's residential over here, you know, and a post, a mailbox, yeah, mail cluster.
So for information purposes of the committee and some of the members as well, so items like this come through our office sometimes frequently. Staff will analyze the situations, take a look at it, provide a recommendation. After that, then it goes, it has to be by ordinance. So if there's a public hearing that's held at the city council level. And then once that public hearing is approved, then it moves on to be an actual ordinance. So it's a two meeting process for this.
Right. Introductory and
And then
final.
final.
Is there any possibility that the business could be given permission to expand on where the green areas are, so that if those cars are employees of the business, could park there and not take any parking from possible customers?
They can-
Right,
Yeah.
and that's probably at their discretion to obtain more property, but what probably gonna happen is they're gonna move over to the next block. And so we're gonna see them parking over here. And that's, in our experience, that's typically what happens.
So they've got plenty of grass there, they can make a parking lot there. and Zacate.
When before a business is established, they have to go through a process through the building department, where at that point, the parking requirements that are established by ordinance as well, those are implemented, and based off of that, then the building department will tell each business that's opening up how many parkings are required and all this and that. Unless the business has been grandfathered in, which would mean that they were established prior to the parking ordinance.
Well, I would just be concerned that we're gonna, I think it's a good idea to put on both sides to move them, but are we gonna be forcing them to now go back into the neighborhood and park, and then we're gonna get the calls from the neighborhood? So the councilman just needs to be aware that, although I support what you all are doing here, but I think we need to have something down the neighborhood that says no parking in the neighborhood or something. That's the only thing that I would, is if y'all had looked at or added to this plan, is just something in the neighborhood, there's no parking here to the corner or something in the neighborhood.
Yeah, there was some conversation off of that with the councilman. The only other thing I'll mention, that there's an ordinance that you can't park in front of the driveway. So that's an ordinance, so that'll be automatic citation if that were to happen. There's another ordinance that has to deal with fire hydrants, where you have to be, I don't recall if it's 20 feet away from a fire hydrant. So all those would apply within the neighborhood. Those are enforceable ordinances in case that we see that spillover going onto the neighborhood. We did see that some of them have their own driveway. For example, there's one at the corner has you can see that there are 3 cars are parked there. You see that this other person has another driveway in there. So.
I was asking because if you look at the picture,
Yes.
this property has a parking space in front of 83. Is it right there?
Mhm.
So that's why I was asking, maybe if
And they within their property, they can expand. So they have that, if they have enough property to where they need to pay, they can do that.
They
It's
can
just
do
a
that.
matter, yeah, it's just a matter of getting a permit with the city, and then.
and
they'll
they
allow
can
it.
expand
And-
at least
yes.
in front a little bit.
If it's within their property limits, yes.
Then,
Yes.
I think we should.
Well, it looks like an old house, and they just adapted it to a clinic. That's why I think they have the parking space over here.
A clinic and a pharmacy.
But
So what are there, 'cause it's a public street, and I mean, you can park on a public street. I mean, when I drive, when I go to my house, there's cars on both sides of the street, and you know, you gotta pull over and let one guy go by, and that happens all over the place, right? So I don't know that that's, you know, the charter of this committee is about traffic safety. I don't know that that poses a safety issue. It's certainly an inconvenience for the residents, but.
Well, in a safety aspect, when the vehicle's coming into the street or exiting the street, and you're limited to one lane movement, then you block the 83 access. So that's where accidents
more of
will
the
occur.
83 part.
It's more on the 83, not necessarily what happens coming out of the residence. It's those that are coming into it that are complete. And that's why when traffic probably looked at it initially, they were saying, we'll close one side of the road to at least have that maneuverability that flow through there.
Correct.
So, you know, blocking just the intersection is not
That's good.
essentially in fact impacting the neighborhood.
That's helpful. Was there basis why that side of the street was chosen versus the other side? Was it just because it's a longer block? Or?
No, we're doing both sides, right?
Both sides.
We're gonna do both sides.
Yes, we're gonna do both sides.
Oh, it's all of it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Initially, they were saying one side, and then the
Right.
councilman,
Yes.
they would talk to him, and he proposed both sides.
Okay, sorry, I missed that. So what we think will happen is that these parkers are just gonna move down the street a little bit. I think that's okay. Because even though if they would have the right to expand the parking, would they do it?
You can always encourage it,
Yeah.
encourage additional
Correct.
parking, because I think that's an excellent idea, is to encourage some additional parking, but then there's a cost associated with it, whether they want to burden those costs. So it's up to them whether they want their employees to park and their constituents to park further away, or.
That'll be their choice, but
Yeah.
I think it's good to have no parking on it because of the high rate of
Yeah,
speed on
that's-
83.
That's the main point, so
Yes.
it's a major thoroughfare. So what is our request here? Just a recommendation to committee, or what is on the table exactly?
Yes, so we're looking for the committee's recommendation.
Yes.
Okay, the council that is, or okay. Any further presentation? Is that the extent?
This is it.
Okay, all right. Well, as far as the possible action, is anyone interested to make a motion that we open discussion of a recommendation to council on this item?
Before, just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So will the sign from 8 AM to 6 PM, that will also be placed? Or is it just gonna be no parking anytime?
No,
It's gonna say no parking from 8 AM to 6 PM.
Okay.
And it'll have a tollway plaque.
Okay.
And all 5 of those signs will look just like that, the same, they'll have the same wording.
They'll help the neighbors, most of them come back from work after 6,
Correct.
so I think that one will not affect that.
That was the idea behind it, that
Yeah.
we said if it's, if any of the neighbors, so that way we don't affect them, they come back from work, they can go ahead and park.
And there's not a lot of traffic after that.
Yeah. But we don't feel that's a neighbor. So instead of any time, you would have 8 AM to 6 PM.
8 AM to 6 PM.
Yeah, we just sort of slashed it.
And I'm for those signs.
Okay, well, just in chair and vice chair's absence, I'll ask again, is anyone interested to make a motion to make a recommendation to council on this item?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to support the recommendation by the councilman as presented with the traffic signs on both sides of the street.
I second that.
Okay. We have a second. Any further discussion about the recommendation that we will make to council?
The only thing that I would say is that we allow the signs adequate space to provide for future sidewalks if need be, or in the proper location.
We can adjust the signs, right,
Yes.
once that
All right.
project is
Right.
come
Good point. Okay, further discussion? Okay, hearing none, the vote, we'll go ahead and move to vote. The vote is to recommend to council, as stated, that we'll place the signage as described in the graphic and in the description. All those in favor of making that recommendation to council signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. And that brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there anything that we have missed in today's, says the guy that missed the first part of the meeting.
We may know you.
Thank you.
The only thing I want to mention, I want to open it up to the committee at this point. If there's anything or any items that you feel that we from staff's end can bring back a staff report, anything that you'd like to see on the agenda for next month, maybe?
I moved early this morning on Loop 20, and I noticed there's always a line going towards,
Yes.
trying to cross toward 35 into the Gilliam Industrial Park. The only thing I noticed, and I would like for you guys to help us with asking TxDOT or having TxDOT come in, is that what I did notice, I noticed that the lights moving traffic north and south, they last a little bit longer than the one going east to west. And I don't know if it's possible for them in certain times of the day to give those lights a little bit more time to
East-west.
to get the flow of trucks moving towards Bridge 4, because it's just,
And it dies down at like.
takes you like
like
5 stops to get across.
That's, but like by 8:15, that line dies down, but then it starts again around lunchtime.
Yeah.
And it
around,
lasts
yeah.
during the
I mean, you're all the way up by, not quite to McPherson, but Milo or whatever the street is there.
And at least until they finish the overpass. Once the overpass is finished, we won't have any problems there.
That's a good point. I hit that traffic as well.
I wanted to bring up something also on Loop 20 going south, when turning towards Del Mar, for example, going towards the new Alexander High School. I noticed that what's happening is the left lane to turn, it's backing up, but it's actually backing up onto the loop. So people are going 60 and they need to maneuver. I'm feeling that we're gonna have an accident pretty soon. I'm not sure there's anything that can do, or that we can look at, but it's pretty scary.
That's a turning lane coming from north to south to turn into the new line grade campus or Del Mar?
Yes, sir.
So they're filling up the capacity of the left.
Of the left lane, correct, Mr. Peña, that's correct.
Is there anything different that you've noticed about Route 20 recently? This past week, perhaps? Because I guess we could have put that in communications or reports, but we have a citywide traffic synchronization project, and we just recently implemented new timings on Route 20. So the consultant's actually coming in this Monday to evaluate and adjust, fine tune it. So
I noticed that yesterday.
it's doing different things, and we're getting calls from different people, even from the university as well. And so, we're logging all this in, and we're going to report back to the consultant. We also retime McPherson, we retime Mines Road. So they've already evaluated Mines Road and McPherson and honed that up, and they're probably going to revisit it again before the project is over. But so right now we're working on Route 20, so just for your information, and then we're going to start doing 359 pretty soon as well.
Perfect.
How long ago did you notice that?
2 days ago, I just noticed
It's
that.
probably related to the same thing.
Yeah, it might be.
That's very interesting.
Could be. What's happening is that, como dice Mr. Peña, the left lane is just getting
Right,
jam-packed. So it's coming on.
that's the worst case scenario. We want to flush traffic out before that happens.
Correct, yes, sir. I've seen cars where they're probably on their phone or something, and they just veer, and because this car doesn't have anywhere to go,
Because there's no crossing at Winfield right there, exiting on the loop.
Right.
So they have to make a right turn movement, and then they have to make into the left turn pocket lane.
Right, we don't have an opening for this left turn, it's only
Correct,
north
right.
and left.
That's correct. and otherwise not to.
So we're gonna meet with the consultant next week, maybe
Yes.
based off of that, we can just bring a brief status to the committee next month. That'll be something we can definitely do. Again, this is an ongoing project throughout the city. It's Mines Road, FM 1472, it's Highway 83, Bob Bullock, McPherson Road, which is complete already, right?
Yes.
And US Highway 59 as well.
What is that?
Huh? That's the progress. Pull out the council column.
Yeah, we have the list on our website also. We go to our website.
Yeah, there you go too.
Alec was helpful in updating our traffic website recently, right? We incorporated the scooter application.
Still working. Unfortunately, every time we update it, we have to go through Red Sea, and it's a process. But still.
The study includes a total of 80 traffic signal control intersections.
The other thing I also noticed today, coming across on Bridge 1 from Nuevo Laredo, there's still a lot of people now, when you showed the Convento Street, there's still a lot of people parking right next to the stores, and with the new bike lane, it just gets a little bit weird when people are parking and everybody's trying to move through, through the street, and we need to get used to that green lane.
They're parking on the lane or in the lane?
They're usually parking on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side, the right-hand side lane, that's usually the slowest.
Really?
So everybody's trying to move to the left-hand side lane, and that one flows a little bit faster.
Right.
And, but on the left-hand side, there's a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but sometimes you see cars or Suburbans or park right with their blinkers, just.
Right there on the
Right
street.
there, right in front of the store.
That's the only picture we have.
There's a bike lane.
And right now, people are not in a very good mood coming across with the lines are.
Yeah.
long.
They're faster if you take a bike though.
If you talk to customs and we can get a Sentry,
That's right.
for the scooter. No problem. Just make sure the GPS is not on, it'll turn off over there.
Well, we can certainly bring back those findings or those reports once we meet with the consultant, just to give you a little bit more information.
Okay, anything we're missing? Any final comments? All right, folks, thanks for your attendance today. We'll stand adjourned.
Thank you.